Okay, so I just finished reading Ultimate Avengers 3 a little while ago, and boy, was this bad. And I'm not talking about good as in a bad way, I just mean it flat out sucks. Ever since the Ultimate Avengers, first came around last year with the whole Red Skull thing, I actually thought Mark Millar came back and started a pretty good stint with writing after the Ultimate Universe was pretty much utterly destroyed by Jeff Loeb. And the Red Skull Ultimate Avengers story was excellent. And since then, it's kind of waned down badly. Ultimate Avengers 2 was alright. It had sort of a half-assed allegory into it about the vice president in that story kind of being like Joe Biden. If there's one in this, because usually all of Mark Millar's stories have some type of allegory that he's going for with his beliefs. And this one maybe manufactured disease, I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and spoil the story right now, so anybody that actually hasn't finished reading the story yet and wants to be spoiler free about it, you have to the count of 3 to get off the page. Okay. So basically, we get vampires in the Ultimate in Ultimate Avengers now. Not really the first time that we haven't seen them. They were just kind of skimmed over in Spider-Man, and that was it. And as much as I hate to say this, I had to check the cover a few times to make sure that it wasn't Jeff Loeb writing the story. And also the fact that, well, 2 of the things I feel about after reading this. One, the Curse of the Mutants was a hell of a lot better than what this story was, as much as that pains me to say. And the second thing is that I had it and I forgot it. But basically, this story just sucks. No pun intended on the vampire thing. I've kind of gotten the feeling now that Millar doesn't really care about writing stories anymore. I mean, granted, Ultimate Marvel needs to be canceled. Even the last issue of Spider-Man that I read before this week sucked badly. The whole story in this particular series right here has to deal with vampires trying to take over the Triskelion. In typical Millar fashion, we get set up, we get a new Daredevil, Ultimate Stick, and Ultimate Blade brought into this. Not really any different from their original counterparts. They're turned into vampires, no explanation really about where this came from. There's kind of a backstory, but it's not really that good. There's a half-assed mystery about some head vampire in armor that winds up getting killed by the Hulk clone after he's turned into a vampire, and they all attack the Triskelion. Captain America gets bit. He's a vampire now, and we get kind of a bad joke in the 5th issue about Piran. First appearance since Ultimates 2. And basically they just kill him at the end of the story. Like, they actually set up several flashbacks in there, thinking he's going to be a major part of stopping the vampire invasion. No. Hulk just snaps his neck, and that's the end of it for him. And the start of the 6th issue actually is Captain America fighting the vampirism in there, and we get this really lazy Deus Ex Machina that now he's so adjusted to the serum that he can just pretty much dispel anything that's used against him. And it leads into what I thought would have been one of the weakest Deus Ex Machinas in the story, but as for terrible as this story is, the only good thing I could find about it is the end. Cap picks up Piran's hammer, and it's pretty much the same as Thor's hammer. Is when he strikes the ground, you can teleport from one place to the other. He teleports the entire Triskelion out into the Iranian desert in the middle of the day and basically burns up all the vampires, and that's it. I've done terrible at explaining this, but basically the story is so terrible in itself I can't find words for it much. I have wanted to call this. Oh yeah, the other thing I remember I wanted to say, I almost wanted to call this the worst story that I had read by Millar, but then I remember that I read Wanted, so this is probably his next to worst story. And I think pretty much the Ultimate Universe, I've long since considered it finished, but there was still some enjoyment to be had before it's eventually canceled on down the line. But I can't say there's going to be any enjoyment from this unless you just like vampires. It's just showing, it's like Loeb, he's just showing how violent he can be in a story. There's violence in here, but it serves no purpose. And if you're another person that also happens to hate Twilight like I do, hey, you got some jokes in here. But they seem very forced in the 4th issue after something happens where Blade gets hit on the head and he starts daydreaming that he's watching Edward Cullen in there and he's going to step up and kill him. Forced does not make it funny, and it's kind of my complaint now that everybody's bandwagoning on the Twilight jokes too, but I digress. I highly recommend, and I don't really recommend, I would actually beg you not to read this particular art. Don't even sit down and read it in the store when it comes out of trade. Avoid this shit like the plague. That is my plea to you.